Ah, yes, we have a brand new box from Winspace. What do you think is inside? What do you think is inside? I don't really know. It says hyper, but hyper could mean hyper blow up doll. I don't really know. But let's open up this box and we will find out. Yo, welcome back to the channel, boys and girls. In today's video, we are checking out the newly released Winspace Loon Hyper D67 wheels. Spoiler alert, these wheels are the best wheels I've ever tested. But we're gonna go over the details on these wheels, and I'm gonna give you my ride impressions as we're gonna take these wheels out on the road. Oh, and by the way, if you are new to my channel, my name is Patrick Lino, and I am a cyclist here in Chicago who builds bikes, who does bike reviews. And if you really want to support the channel, then consider sending me money to my Cash App, because ever since I started my OnlyFans account, my wife kicked me out of the house and I need money for hotels and a place to stay. So without further ado, let's begin. Alrighty, so I really don't want this video to come across as some sort of commercial or promotion for Winspace, nor do I want to completely regurgitate all the other details from other content creators out there. But I do want to talk about the highlights of these wheels because, of course, that is really important. So number one, the most important thing. So the internal width of these new generation of Hyper wheels has increased from 19 millimeters to 21 millimeters, meaning that they are now optimized for both 25 and 28C tires. Number two, Winspace has designed what they call the F-Rapid design, meaning that the shape profiles of both the front and rear wheels are different from each other. So the front wheel is shaped for stability in the crosswinds, and the rear wheel is shaped to prioritize aerodynamics. And this is also why Winspace went with a staggered wheel depth setup, with the rear wheel being 68 millimeters in depth and the front wheel being 60 millimeters. Number three, rim brake version is still offered, so shout out to Winspace on that front. Now the ceramic bearings, the free hub, and the carbon spokes are more or less the same from the previous generations. However, there is now a 28% increase in drive spoke angle. Now, I've said this before, I'm not an engineer, and this detail seems to have become a point of contention, so do whatever you want with this information. And number four, the new Hypers are on average 15% stiffer and 6% lighter than the previous generation. Now, the previous Winspace Hyper 65 wheels came in at a claimed weight of 1,608 grams, and these new ones have a claimed weight of 1,515 grams. Oh no, the paws just fell out from the hub. Oh my goodness. All right, I gotta fix this. All right, I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that, boys and girls. Apparently I have pulled off the protective end cap so quickly that not only did I pull off the free hub, but actually pulled off a couple of the paws inside the free hub as well. But don't worry, I put it back in place. Everything is a-okay. I suppose the silver lining of that incident happening is that it is really easy to service the free hub on this Hyper D67 wheel set. Included with the wheels are the usuals, which is extra spokes, tubeless valves. The rims are tubeless taped from the factory. However, rather than provide all of the extra spokes and tubeless valves in a paper box, Winspace instead provided everything in a really nice, thoughtful handlebar bag. So kudos to Winspace for that really nice touch. Alrighty guys, it's that time of my videos, which is a real world weight test. Now, before we get all this on there and get this set up, a couple of things. Number one, the LP we have in today's video is the Temptations 25th anniversary. Temptations is an amazing group from Motown. If you haven't heard of them, then I really feel sorry for you. And the second thing is the weight of the previous generation Winspace Hyper 65 wheels. So the real world weight on those was 1,615 grams. And for those wheels, we had a depth of 65 millimeters on both the front and rear. And the internal width on both wheels was 19 millimeters. So for the brand new generation of Hyper wheels, for the D67 wheels, we have an internal width on both wheels of 21 millimeters. The front wheels is 60 millimeter in depth, and the rear wheel is 68 millimeters in depth. And tubeless tape, of course, is installed. And I did remove the tubeless valves. So first, for the front wheel, we have 698 grams. 698 grams for the rear, or excuse me, for the front wheel. All right. Yikes. All right. And for the rear wheel here of the D67 wheels, we have 854 grams plus 854 grams. That gives us a grand total for the pair, 1,552 grams. Let's continue. Alrighty guys, so as you guys can see, we have my lovely setup here with my Winspace T1500 Aero frame set, along with the previous generation of the Winspace Hyper 65 wheels. So the next thing we have to do is we gotta take these wheels off, we gotta take the rotors off, and we gotta take the cassette off so that we can go ahead and mount these brand new D67 wheels. Now the current tires I have on here right now are Continental GP 5000 tires in a 25C width. I'm probably gonna try and use 25C tires as well, just so I can get somewhat of an idea of what these brand new ones feel like. I know that these new wheels are optimized for both 25 and 28C tires, but for my Winspace T1500 frame, I just love the way it feels. It feels so sprightly, it's just so alive with 25C tires, so that it probably makes more sense, right, to just use 25C tires. But anyway, let's go ahead and do that, and I will show you what this bike looks like with the brand new wheels. Let's continue. Alrighty guys, and here is a free hub sound test on these Winspace or Loon Hyper D67 wheel set. The very first things I noticed when I started riding these wheels today, I was like, man, this is it. These are the pinnacle of wheels. These are absolutely perfect. The bearings are smooth. They're even smoother than the previous generation Winspace Hyper wheels. Winspace, I think Winspace also added a little bit of extra hub grease in the free hub or the hub body, so the wheels are even a little bit more quiet when you're freewheeling. I know that's something that people kind of complained about in the past, but the whole entire wheel set as a whole, especially on this bike, just extremely comfortable. It's really hard to explain just the overall sensation. Like, they're still aero, they're still stiff, yet somehow Winspace has engineered the angle of the spokes. I'm assuming, I'm not an engineer, but they engineered them in a way now to where they've made the wheels stiff, yet a little bit more comfortable than the previous or the first generation of the Winspace Hypers. I'm blown away. These wheels are perfect. I don't really have any negative things to say at all. So again, big shout out to Winspace for listening to their customers, and I think that's something that a lot of other brands can really take note of. Now, being that I'm able to try a variety of wheels, everything from Envy to Elite wheels to Magine, all these different brands across the price spectrum, and it's just crazy that regardless of all the wheels I've been able to try, Winspace is still on top. These are still the best set of carbon aero wheels that I've ever tried. I don't know how, if in a few years Winspace comes out with the third generation of these wheels, I honestly don't know how they're going to top themselves, because these wheels are just that good. I want to talk quickly about tire widths. So most people on road usually choose between 25C or 28C tires, and I do like the 28C for comfort, especially on long days or when you really are riding on rough pavement. But at the end of the day, I will always favor 25C tires. Here in Chicago, yeah, the roads are bad, but they're not that bad to where you really actually need 28C tires. And being now that Winspace has made the internal width on these wheels 21 up from 19 millimeters, it seems like this guy hits me. Chump's not even looking. So anyway, being that now Winspace has made the internal width on these wheels 21 millimeters up from the 19 millimeters, so because I'm using 25C tires on a wheel that's slightly wider, that means that I'm still getting a comfortable ride, but I'm still also getting the aero benefits, because now the wheels or the rim is slightly wider than the tires. All right, is this thing on? How do I look? Do I got any boogers? How's my mustache? All right, anyway guys, all right, so we just finished out our workout for the day. Basically what I've been doing in this off season is I've been sort of training my endurance, my zone 2 or zone 3 efforts, because starting next month in November we start back up indoor racing on Zwift. So I want to make sure I'm well prepared so that I can perform a lot better than what I've been doing, especially during last season's racing on Zwift. So anyway, we just got done with our workout here, and let me just talk quickly about these wheels. So I'm going to be completely honest with you guys. These are by far the best wheels I've ever ridden, I've ever owned, I've ever tested, and I've been fortunate enough to test out a lot of wheels. Some of the best wheels I've tested were the Envy 6.7 SES wheels. Those wheels are primo. However, these wheels are better than those, and of course that also means that these wheels are even better than the previous generation, or the first generation Winspace Hyper 65 wheels. When I first started riding these wheels today, I was wondering, I was like, man, how could Winspace or Loon improve on a wheel that was already fantastic, both performance and value, my opinion, and somehow they still managed to make this brand new set of wheels just freaking amazing. And I appreciate the fact that Winspace listened to all the customers out there. So for example, people were complaining about, I want a wider internal width. Instead of it being 19, how about we do 21? And Winspace listened. A lot of people complained about, the ride's too stiff. Maybe can you make the wheels more compliant and comfortable? Winspace did that as well. Other people were saying, the spoke angle and all this other stuff. Now, I'm not an engineer, so I'm not going to speak on that. But basically, Winspace listened to their customers, and they made all of those minute changes that make a profound difference overall with the ride quality on these wheels. And another thing too is, in my last video on my LA Sprint, I talked about on those wheels I was running 28C tires, but the ride now on these new Winspace, it's so amazing, it's so comfortable now that I'm running actually 25C tires on these wheels. I think overall I'm still a fan of the 25C tires versus 28. I'm running about 86 PSI in the rear and about 84 or so in the front, and the ride is so comfortable. And I'm gonna say, I got probably boogers in my face, I'm gonna say that these wheels with my Winspace T1500 frame set, this basically makes my whole entire ride for this bike setup just perfect. I'm not kidding you, perfect. This is still my favorite bike. I love my LA Sprint. I still have to do more testing on riding on that to give you guys a final verdict, but this setup right here is my favorite bike. Everything about this is fantastic. If you got the money for these wheels and they're in stock, no question about it, 100% buy these for sure. Man, check this out, yo. I even got the Winspace bottle cages. I got these Loon Hyper socks. I know y'all ain't got those water bottles or socks, stop front. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say, guys. So I'm gonna leave the video at just that, but a big thank you to Winspace for sending these wheels out for me to try. 100% must buy, my favorite wheels I've ever tested. These are extremely hard to beat for the value, and the customer service that Winspace offers is fantastic. For the price, bar none, 100% must buy. Oh yeah, I forgot to also mention too, is on my ride going down, we had some crazy winds. So we had some like head crosswinds going down about 15 miles an hour or so, and then coming back up, we also had some kind of crazy cross tailwinds coming back up 15 miles an hour. And these wheels are super duper stable. Part of that probably is due to the fact that the front is 60 millimeters in depth and the rear is 68 millimeters in depth. Now, even living in Chicago and living on the lakefront, we always have crosswinds, and I've never had an issue with the previous generation of the Winspace Hypers. These are even more stable than the previous generation, guys. So yeah, I'm going to leave the video at that for now. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please feel free to leave them down below, and I'm gonna check you guys on the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.